Hi, I'm Sarah Parks and I'm a Texas State student.
Do you think you have ever driven while drowsy?
Yes. It's usually just after work. Like when I was waitressing, I'd work double shifts, so I'd be at work from 10 a.m. till 2 a.m. So that was probably like the only time I really drove drowsy.
Do you feel the difference then while driving drowsy versus driving while well rested?
There's like a slight difference, but I usually just put really loud music on and sing so I stay awake, so I don't really feel that much of a difference.
Do you notice the time of year that there is a higher police presence on the roads?
Yeah, it's usually October through December-ish that I've noticed it. And I think it's just because it gets darker earlier.
Mark Parks, uh, retired DPS, 30 years, 12 and a half years as a highway patrol, and the rest criminal investigations.
Did you work any crashes that were caused by drowsy driving?
Well, I mean, that was a common thing. It happened all the time. Probably at least one that I know of resulted in a fatality um, that I could directly attribute to fatigue driving.
Do you see the signs of drowsy driving on the roads now, even with being retired?
Well, the thing about it is similar to drunk driving or texting and driving. They all look pretty much the same. When they're driving that way, it's like I said, it's very similar to being drunk or similar to texting and driving.
Did you notice a time of year that you saw more people driving while fatigued or drowsy?
Kind of probably as far as general age group, not so much as if you get down into age specific, like in college age, of course, it's during the school year. Kids want to burn the candles at both ends. They think they can, um, that they're bulletproof and they won't get too tired and stuff like that. And they do. You're not immune to fatigue just because you're younger.
Yes, sir. How would you advise college kids face drowsy driving with finals and the holidays coming up? Do you think there's anything they could do better this year versus past with most schooling being online?
Well, I mean, if they can go home and do the online thing that week, where they're not, driving back and forth and doing a lot of that. Of course, kids all want to go out and party and stuff, and so that adds to fatigue. They think that, oh, if I get a few hours sleep after partying all night, I'll be all right the next day. And
Do you think that your daughter has, um, do you think she's driven drowsy being a college age student?
oh yeah, I'm sure she has.
Do
Yeah.
you think you have? And did
Oh,
you?
I know I have. Yeah. I mean, I was young like everybody else. I used to think that, oh, I'm invincible. I can do this, and I'd push it, and I'd drive as long and as hard and as I could, and I don't do that now. Now it's like, okay, I'm tired, time to pull over and find a place to stay.
That was my next question: is if you ever have uh, driven while drowsy, did you uh, would you really notice that was different between driving while tired versus uh, with that full 7-8 hours of sleep?
But there's not much difference between driving tired and driving drowsy. Both of them are the same issue. there's a lot of research on that. In fact, they say that driving while fatigued is probably worse than driving while intoxicated in some instances. You know.
When you were doing your shifts while on patrol, did you ever like drive home drowsy?
Oh, there were times we were out on manhunts and stuff for 2 or 3 days at a time, and yeah, you'd drive home drowsy. You know, one time I pulled over to the side of the road and was asleep, and somebody pulled over and knocked on my window and asked if I was okay. You know, I had 3 days worth of beard growth and probably smelled at the high heavens. So,
Do you have anything else you'd like to add for anybody to hear?
well, the fatality I worked on, 19-year-old girl. She went to college during the day. She worked at a Walgreens drugstore until 10, and then she would drive 40 miles one way to see her boyfriend, and then drive back home at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then get up at 7 again so she could go back to school the next day. And she just burned that candle at both ends. And if she had, I blame the boyfriend part of it, you know. He should have seen that she was fatigued and said, no, you either don't come out here and see me, because she lived west of Sealy and he lived in Katy, which is 40 miles one way. There was no reason for her to be driving. You know, he could have driven and seen her, but he didn't. And, you know, if it hadn't been for that, she'd probably still be alive today.
Yes, sir. And thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah. It was bad. That was not one of the kind of accidents you want to go notify a parent.